Who are the greatest players in college football history that wore the number 1 jersey on their chest? We have the answers to this question and more coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darin Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Before we get into our episode today, let's take the time to drill that football right into the like and subscribe button on your console so you know exactly when the notifications come up of the latest releases of Pigskin Dispatch podcast for some more great football history. Now on to our episode. Hello, my football friends. This is Darin Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history. College football jersey is one that many people don't really talk about because players only wear them for maybe a year, 2, 4 at the most. And it's really a hard thing to get a finger on. But we have had some great football players that wore jersey number 1. And this is the start of a series that we're going to do for 2026 here, at the end of 2025, right into 2026. And hopefully by the end of 2026, we've covered all 100 numbers, 1 through double zeros of the college football jersey numbers. And today's episode, we're going to cover jersey number 1. So I think probably a good place to start before we give you the top players of jersey number 1 is to go through a few schools have the specialized jersey number 1 to be a special player that they have on their roster. The Temple Owls, they have the players who wear the single-digit jerseys 1 through 9 are considered by their coaches and teammates to be the toughest and hardest workers on a team. Number 1 being the El Prima Alpha Dog in that show. The NC State Wolfpack is another one that since 2014, number 1 has been reserved for the player who exhibits the elite work ethic, strong practice habits, and serves as an exemplary leader for the team. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish have it as a sort of moving target number. It's not assigned permanently, but it's giving out on a weekly basis to the player who best exemplifies the program's values both on and off the field. The Michigan Wolverines say the number 1 jersey has historically been associated with the elite wide receivers, with the expectation that player will perform at a high level and potentially contend for awards like the Biletnikoff Award and maybe even the Heisman. The Florida Gators also look and value number 1 on the jersey. It's considered a prestige number and is not given away recklessly. A prestigious number often worn by the playmakers of the Gators, not given out every single year. That's a big, important thing there, too. Now, there were some notable players here these past few seasons. I'm talking the 2025 season that's just wrapping up here. Caden Fordham of NC State, as we just talked about a little bit ago, a linebacker, had 143 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions in 2025. Skylar Bell of UConn in 2025 was the receiving leader of all the NCAA Division I schools, 101 receptions, 1,278 yards, 13 touchdowns for Mr. Bell. And we're in jersey number 1. Colin Simmons is an edge that played for Texas. The Longhorn was a highly talented defender who switched to the number 1 during the 2024 season and explicitly stating that he wanted the number because he believes he is the best player and likes the pressure it brings. With 13 and a half tackles for loss in 2025, he might have just earned that choice and lived up to that moniker he called himself. Roman Henby was a running back who wears number 1 for Indiana in 2025. We'll see him here in the next few weeks playing in the college football playoff. He is well accounted for with over 900 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns for the Hoosiers. Isaiah Horton played for Alabama in 2025 and helped the Tide with 8 touchdown catches and just under 500 yards. Reggie Virgil, the big play Texas Tech wide receiver in 2025, he had 676 receiving yards and 6 TDs through the air. And Zachariah Branch was a USC transfer who in 2025 played wide receiver for the University of Georgia. And this Bulldog had 744 yards receiving, 5 scoring touchdowns caught, wearing that Uno jersey. Deshaun Stribling played wide receiver for Ole Miss in 2025 and with the number 1 jersey and helped over 500 receiving yards and 5 touchdown scores. And then Bear Alexander, the big Oregon Ducks defensive lineman, had 6 tackles for loss and a half a sack registered so far in his 2025 campaign. So that's 2025 season. We had some notables back in 2024. Donovan McCulley, a wide receiver for Indiana, and in 2024, and in Michigan 2025, key wide receiver for the Hoosiers in 2024 season. And in 2025, he portaled and went to the Wolverines and scored 3 touchdowns up at Michigan. And Ashton Stamps, a DB for LSU in 2024, the defensive back who changed to number 1 for that 2024 season, embracing tradition and expectations associated with a single digit at LSU. So there's our modern players the last couple years that have wore it. Now I think maybe we got to go on the honor roll and who is the best player to wear jersey number 1? Well, many people think it might be this man, a wide receiver from Michigan from 1979 and 1982, a guy by the name of Anthony Carter, widely considered the best player in college football history that wore the number 1 jersey. Carter was a 3-time All-American who set numerous receiving records at Michigan, despite playing in a run-heavy offense back there for, I believe, Bo Schembechler was the coach back then. This guy's going to be no stranger to because he had quite an NFL career too. Larry Fitzgerald, wide receiver for Pittsburgh from 2002-2003, dominant wide receiver who won the Biletnikoff Award and a Walter Camp Award in 2003, and finishing as the Heisman Trophy runner-up in 2003. Often mentioned in discussion as the best to wear the number. So he's right on the tails of Anthony Carter. Now, this is a personal favorite of mine. We're going to go way in the Wayback Machine 100 years ago, and Ernie Nevers, who was a consensus All-American fullback and defensive star for Stanford, famously playing in that 1925 Rose Bowl against the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame while battling with 2 broken ankles near the end of the season in that Rose Bowl. He was later inducted into College Football Hall of Fame, had a great pro career too with the Duluth Eskimos and even on the Chicago Cardinals. Now, Vince Bononis was a 2-time All-American center and linebacker for the University of Detroit, serving as a captain of the 1940 team and later earning induction into the College Football Hall of Fame for his outstanding career. Another Hall of Famer who wore number 1 was Jeff Bentram, who was an exceptionally decorated quarterback for North Dakota State, leading the Bison to 2 NCAA Division II national championships and winning the Harlan Hill Trophy in 1986, which honors the top player in Division II football. And lastly, our last Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Famer that wore the number 1 jersey was David Williams, a 2-time consensus All-American wide receiver for Illinois. He's setting the multiple school receiving records during his career, becoming the first receiver in Big Ten history with 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Those are all some great candidates that are in the Hall of Fame. But we have another player that wore number 1 that won a Heisman Trophy, and he's the only player in Heisman Trophy history that won the Heisman while wearing the number 1 jersey. And that is current quarterback in the NFL, Kyler Murray, quarterback of Oklahoma in 2018. Murray won that Heisman in 2018 while wearing number 1, throwing for over 4,300 yards and accounting for 42 touchdowns that season to lead a nation. Definitely big numbers to boost it up there to do that. So I think you really have 3 guys that are vying for the best to ever wear a number. Anthony Carter, Larry Fitzgerald, Ernie Nevers. Many people will discount Ernie Nevers, but I think his importance to the game, if there would have been a Heisman back in 1925, remember it didn't start till the mid-30s, Nevers might not have won it because that year you had the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame, so you have those 4 guys who were playing outstanding. And you also had a guy by the name of Red Grange that was playing some pretty good football for Illinois. So that would have been an interesting Heisman vote for that. But Nevers might have got there with his play, but that late season injury might have took him out of contention. But it's great to talk about, great to look at and honor these people that wore the number 1 from the last, over 100 years of wearing jerseys in the NCAA. So have I missed anybody? Is there somebody who should be on your list? If so, why don't you email us, pigskindispatch@gmail.com. They won't get to get on this podcast and this YouTube video, but we will list them on our page of the college football jersey number 1 on pigskindispatch.com. So send us a line if you feel we missed somebody. We'll research it and get some information out there about them. So hope you're enjoying this, and we have 99 more numbers to cover here in the next year. So we'll be doing a couple of these every week, as well as our normal programming here on Pigskin Dispatch to bring you the portal to football history. Till next time, everybody, have a great gridiron day. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.